Tutto tomate! Simone, Ike!
Cover her face with the mask of Satan. Horror Italiano. Mother of Tears.
Welcome. This is the season finale of Horror Italiano. We're coming back again, don't worry. But we are closing this episode off with the last part of a trilogy. We started with Suspiria, 1977, then Inferno, 1980, and now to 2007 with The Mother of Tears. And Rick, you ready to talk about this movie?
Oh man, yes I am, brother. But before that, I want to reflect a little bit on Horror Italiano. This is our last episode, our season finale, which is funny because this film was never on the schedule until we realized there's a third film to this witches trilogy, and the last one was in the 80s. This is 2007. That's a huge friggin' gap. So yeah, man, let's get into this one, brother. Let's go.
This is the 2007 movie, The Mother of Tears, or La Terza Madre, Mater Lacrium, The Third Mother. It is directed by Dario Argento, starring Asia Argento as Sarah Mandy, Christian Solimeno as Detective Enzo Marchi, Adam James as Michael, and Daria Nicolodi as Alyssa Mandy. An American art student in Rome accidentally triggers the return of Mater Lacrimarum, the Third Mother, and must use her Latin magical powers to end the witch's reign of terror. So when this movie starts off, you get, I guess, our archaeologists that are uncovering a casket and an urn, and then this is sent to Rome. And if you remember in Inferno, we were introduced to the Mother of Tears in Inferno back in Rome. So now the movie is closing off right where the third one, Rome, we were already hinted on it. And we get the casket and urn sent to a museum. And this is where we're introduced into Sarah. Her and Giselle decide to open up this urn. And once they opened up the urn, so I kind of looked at the urn as Pandora's box. Like when it was opened up, chaos ended up happening, which is kind of like Pandora's box. So I thought, I love the Pandora's box story. You know, we're also dealing with a movie with witchcraft, and I love witchcraft movies. So once this box is opened, a bunch of fucked up shit starts happening. And it starts in Rome, which they end up saying that, I guess, the way that they were looking at it is the second fall of Rome, which is not a good sign. It's kind of an end of times thing. So let's just kind of discuss some of the shit that happened once this urn ended up being opened. Like, Rick, because I'm sure there's one scene that you were probably not a huge fan of. So I'm going to see if that's the first thing you're going to mention. But yeah, let's talk about the chaos after that urn was opened.
It's funny because you keep mentioning chaos, and I have that word in my notes. Chaos ensues. It's interesting because within this urn, man, by the way, it's a pretty big urn because it's got like 3 different, pretty standard figurines. There's other various objects, and then there is this magical tunic underneath it. That was the urn itself? Is that what they consider an urn at the
everything? Yeah. I thought, like I have my dog in an urn, and it's this small. It's not like this big thing. Like,
so within this urn, there is this magical tunic that belonged to the Mother of Tears. What do you call it? Mater Lacrimarum? Is that how you? Yeah. So it belongs to this mother. She's the third mother, the big bad we haven't got to yet in full until now. So this character of Giselle cuts herself. Blood drops on that. I guess it was the actual urn itself, and it activates almost like a blood transfusion. The Mother of Tears is back. And when I saw that, I'm like, oh man. So that's all it took was blood? And really? Dario, it's 2007. My brother, you can't think of something else.
But in Magic, that's kind of one of the triggers for spells is blood. So having, like, I see what you're saying.
No, but you're right.
However,
it's a catalyst, essentially.
Yeah. In Magic, like, especially on Black Magic, it's blood is one of the things to, like, basically make the spell happen.
Yeah. So when that blood hits the urn, it does act as a catalyst to bring back the Mother of Tears into this world now to ensure the chaos that is about to come in. So once resurrected, this witch uses this opportunity to come back to life, essentially, to spread her poison across all of Rome, essentially. Madness, chaos, riots, suicides, I mean, you name it, bro. Everything was going on within the city of Rome, and I think this was her goal from the beginning, to bring destruction to Rome, well, to the whole world, but starting with Rome. That's the key. It ain't just Rome. This is just no. This is what I can do.
Oh, I'm gonna ask you about that later. Trust me. Yeah, I'm gonna ask you about her plan, but
go for it, Brad. So, what you thought about this, man?
Oh my God! When the first thing that happened once this box was open, the mother taking her baby, because I wasn't even expecting it. Like, she's holding her baby up, and then she just drops it, and then you hear the baby's head hit the bridge. I was like, oh shit. Like,
it was offset though by the fact that that baby was a complete doll, man. You see
how the
arm came up before it even hit the actual.
Oh yeah, no, you knew that. But
that was
still,
funny. I'm sorry. It was shocking though. It was, but at the same time, I was like, yeah, it's a dummy. By the way, I love when you can actually tell it's a dummy. Just flying across the fucking screen and just impacting. I love that in film. It's cheesy, low budget, but for some reason I love it. But I don't want to see that in a 2007 Argento film. That's the difference.
Well, hold on though. Oh wait, that's gonna be my closing thoughts on this.
Yeah,
because it was a 2007 film and it relied on some of the other stuff that the other ones didn't. That's gonna be a little thing I'm gonna hit on this. But yeah, just watching basically Rome go into chaos. Like you're watching somebody stab, like I think a woman stabbed her husband or a guy. You're just seeing all this violence going on, which is why I contributed to Pandora's Box.
Yeah,
because literally, once it was
that's open, a really good comparison, by the way.
It is. Well, and the thing is, in the urn was 3 figurines. The 3 mothers.
3 mothers. Yep, I caught that.
So when they were trying to read the names and they couldn't figure it out, I'm like, these are the 3 mothers. So that, like, this was, I think, so when it comes to witchcraft, you sometimes have to create containments. So the urn itself was a containment to block all the sisters.
Good shout.
So, but the one that it mostly blocked was the Mother of Tears, because we ended up having Suspiria, we had Inferno, the Mother of Sighs, the Mother of Darkness, and then now we're at the Mother of Tears. So I guess because tears being an emotional thing that we feel, in moments of grief, of fear, so you're seeing this fucking chaos just going on. But if you notice, with some of them, after whatever act they did, they turned around and they were crying. So it was the Mother of Tears, like, to bring on your tears, you did something fucking horrific. I was like, I love that. It's kind of like a spell that was put on Rome that would eventually spread, which is kind of the plan here. But I was all for the magic being shown. Just like I said, I'm going to try to not keep repeating it, but it was Pandora's Box. But then what the movie actually did, though, it's really hard to sometimes tie in trilogies. It's got to be kind of done in a forced way or it's organic.
The good thing about this trilogy, though, is that they're loosely connected. So as a newer fan, you could watch these movies out of sequence and not miss anything.
No.
That's what's nice about it. It's in the same universe, but you could pretty much watch them in any order and you're never going to be like lost or anything, which is pretty cool. I like the fact that you could go in there and just enjoy the films for what they are and not have to rely on doing homework and studying and paying attention. You know, like me and you do that, but the more casual audience, the casual viewer, they don't care about that. They just want to see a good movie. So that's the nice thing about this trilogy.
One, if you jumped in on this one with the Mother of Tears, you had Padre Johannes who explained how Sarah was connected.
Udo care, brother. He came back. He came back.
Udo care. I mean, no, like when he popped in, I'm like, dude, like this guy's been like around in so many movies. Like
at first, I was like, wait a minute, is he playing the same guy from Suspiria? But nah, he played a different character.
It's great. Like he is literally, he's like one of those, like you have seen him in so many movies.
Bro, he pops in, gives some good exposition, and then he's killed off.
Pretty much, poor guy. When he sits there and explains, you know, that the Mother of Sighs was in Germany, then the Mother of Darkness was in New York.
Yeah.
You know, and then we are back to Rome. I thought just it was a very organic way to tie in all these movies where it didn't, like there was common thread, but the common thread was the three mothers. It wasn't a character. It wasn't like, you know, there were the protagonist or the antagonist were not the same in all of them, but they're connected. What I loved was that Sarah's mother was a witch and she battled Mater Suspirium and injured her. We still got Suspiria because obviously she didn't completely defeat her.
That is a connection though, because Sarah, obviously her mother was Elisa, right?
Yep. Alyssa.
Alyssa's character was all right. Alyssa obviously is played by Daria Nicolodi, right? Is that the same character from what was it, Inferno? Because her name was Alyssa as well in that movie, but it can't be. It's weird. It can't be. But
I should have fucking looked that up. I mean, it would have been a good.
What a coincidence with the same name, because
I should have fucking looked that up. Like we both, anyways.
Because Alyssa Mandy was a white witch, obviously. Like, of course, like this movie told. She battled Marcos in Germany, defeated him, but then later on, obviously, she was taken out by the Mother of Tears.
Yes.
And now Sarah, all these years later.
No, she was taken out. She was taken out by the Mother Suspirium.
Good call. You're right.
Yeah. Because after she injured her,
for sure,
then Mother Suspirium ended up taking out her Sarah's parents. And that's how basically Sarah was tied into this, because her mom was a white witch who battled the darkness.
Does that make Sarah a witch?
Yeah, that's why Sarah was a witch.
That's why she was able to use the powers, like
when she did the invisibility.
It's kind of over the top, though. Come on.
Okay, so
she was all like, just stand still, and she's like, ding, goes invisible. Like, what the?
It's funny because I did like when the detective was above her, because even though she was invisible, it was
that guy was all up on her. He was all like,
right. And if you notice, she was controlling her breathing. So just because you're invisible, you can hear your breath. You know what I mean? Like she was smart enough to control her breathing, to be like, oh my God, don't breathe on his face. Like, don't make a noise. You're just invisible. He can still hear you and feel you.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I had loved that because it was a very uncomfortable scene to watch. Like he's literally leaning up on her, you know, and he's looking around and she's like,
and that camera angle where it's like the low angle shot of you see him like this.
Yes.
Like, come on, bro. Give me some space.
Right.
Give me
some
space.
Imagine that you're invisible, but still somebody's in your space. You're like, oh my God. Like control your breathing. Don't let him know that you're here. So for me, I loved how Sarah was tied into what is pretty much a trilogy. You know, like, what are your, like, did you like Sarah's like tie-in through the whole trilogy?
I did a lot because it made sense. It's the last film, and you do want to connect it in a way that's plausible. You don't want to do anything that's gonna, be jarring, for example, or just take you completely out of the story. Tying her to Alyssa and her past makes a lot of sense for where the narrative goes in Mother of Tears, especially when the movie's over. That's the last mother, so it's done, but at least it's completed with a character that has ties to witchcraft, obviously because of the White Witch. And it does give the character of Sarah an out in order to use supernatural abilities, like having her mother guide her through certain situations and teaching her, like the invisibility, opening the doors for her, and kind of, she's like her Obi-Wan to her Luke Skywalker. That's what she pretty much is. And when she perished, though, when she took Michael, that was the girl.
Yeah.
I forgot his name. That's his name, man. Michael.
Yeah, but because he was a zombie.
He was a zombie, and the way she grabs him and drags him to hell.
Oh my god! Yeah, I'm literally by the.
I'll get to that too. But I did like the way they tied all that together. Now, if Udo Kier's character was the same guy from Suspiria, that would have been the icing on the cake. But it's a different character. He could have been the same character, but they wanted him to be a priest. But I think this movie had a lot of shady characters too. Only introduced just to get obliterated somewhere down there. I laughed my ass off when the old guy and his his servant or whatever he was, when they saw the guy in the wheelchair. Sarah at the end, the climax of the film, she's them both tied up against the wall. They're getting fucked up. They chopped the other guy's arm off. They're like, I don't know why I laughed at that. I was like, these poor suckers, bro.
Well, no, because they got what they deserve, actually.
They were nefarious characters?
Yes. Almost everybody involved in here was kind of like involved on something. But it's funny because you had, one of the things that you brought up, as you were speaking, I had thought about that Lacrimaro's goal. So what did you think about her goals? Basically bringing on the second age of witchcraft.
Mater Lagrimarum is bringing this, like you called it. What did you call it? Second age of witchcraft. This character just wants to bring nothing but evil and darkness and sickness and violence across Rome. She's a witch. There is no motive. There is no ulterior motive, no modus operandi. She just wants to see everything in chaos. She wants to just have everyone kill themselves, kill each other, and just worship her. It's funny because she not gathered, but all these witches, when they found out she was resurrected, all these witches from all over the fucking world show up. Mind you, they all look like punk rockers from a 80s McDonald's video. That Asian one was scary looking, only because she was her mannerisms, her facial expressions, bro. I'm like, what the fuck is that? What's going on here? And the fact that all nonchalant, blah blah blah. No, you don't know anything. Everything happens so randomly in this movie.
Well, even with the subtitles, they didn't give you a translation for that shit.
No,
whatever she said, you didn't know what she said.
No,
so it makes it a little bit more ominous because you don't know exactly what she said. I'm sorry.
I mean, she's a master manipulator. This Mater. She wants to just be in control, and she just wants to use everyone as her puppets. That's all she wants. When all of these witches migrate to Rome, they all come looking for her. It's like this weird sonar activated when she was resurrected, and Rome is the central hub now of witches, and. Not only that, but while that's going on, you got death and destruction all over the fucking city, bro. What am I only this movie called a bad rap, because before going in, I knew it was a mixed bag as far as popularity, but I went in not judging it because of the long gap in between others, because some people are waiting years for this, so it's different for them. We just discovered these films, so to us it's fresh, but we weren't waiting, and we didn't have expectation. This movie it's not perfect, and one of the things I will say, we mentioned the carnage in the streets, it felt really small scale to me, because yes, they showed a mother getting out, dropping her baby into the fucking river, people murdering each other, but yet you still have, like Sarah and everyone else just, going about their day like
Normal
nothing.
lives.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, do you not see what's going on outside?
Did you
What
not
the
put on
fuck
the
is going
news?
on? Yeah,
Like-
when she talks to the
my God.
priest,
Yes.
Padre, what's his name, Johannes,
Johannes.
he's like, oh, just look what's going on. They look out the window and they see all this shit. When she walked over to this place or whatever
I
however
didn't
she
see
got
any
there.
of that shit.
No, so I'm like,
It
what's
wasn't going on.
on?
Oh my God, thank you for catching that.
Yeah.
Because I peeped that. When she showed up, she's like walking through. There's one woman was
Yeah.
being like held. And then all of a sudden, when you look out the window, it's utter chaos.
Utter
I'm
chaos,
like,
bro.
that shit did not happen like 30 seconds ago
Yeah.
before she walked into the building.
Yeah, odd the way it was shot. But regardless, it's the fall of Rome, and Mater Lagrimarum is on a fucking path of destruction, and she wants nothing more than just to spread her vile disease across Rome. And that's just like I said, that's just the start. Her main goal is to fucking just reshape the world in her vision, essentially. That's how I saw it.
So because the movie was tied to witchcraft, I was kind of, because Sarah is a white witch. And then you have her against the darkness.
That's
So
cool.
I
I like that.
Kind of wanted a little bit more witchcraft in the movie. Like I wanted to see spells. For me, the final battle was anticlimactic for me because I wanted them to actually use witchcraft. I mean, she's the mother of tears. She is one of the strongest as far as using magic. And it was barely done as far as, if you're bringing in the second coming of magic, but you're not going to use magic in your movie, it's kind of a little bit of a letdown. And that's where I liked the movie overall, but on the actual witchcraft side, I was kind of let down. Like I like the ending, her using a spear to pull the tunic off, and then
That's it.
we're done. Yeah.
Roll
But
the
it's
credits.
weird because it was kind of almost the same way that all the other ones have ended. If you think about the ending of Suspiria and Inferno,
Yeah, they all abruptly just ended. Yeah, yeah.
Abruptly,
They vanquished the evil very easily.
yes, and it was just that's literally why I was not such a huge fan of the movie, because I'm like, this is it. Like as they're talking, we're dealing with witchcraft, and the end battle should have been some type of spells, like them doing something against each other, instead of just her grabbing a fucking spear, pulling the tunic off, and her going, no. Oh, I'm like, oh no.
Let's be real, bro. That was just an excuse. So
To
you
get
could
her tits
have
out?
The mother's big fake tits out.
Well, let's close this out, brother.
All right, my brother. Closing thoughts. Yeah, man. Overall, you expressed your kind of disappointment. Overall, I think I'm with you on that one. I enjoyed the movie as a whole, but connecting it to the other ones and how good. I mean, Suspiria is a fucking classic.
And Inferno was a good
too.
surprise.
Inferno is really good as well. It's a
Yeah.
fun watch. But this one here, there was a lot of issues because it's 2007. So what that means, you're gonna get fucking CGI. Unfortunately, we got CGI
Thank
ghosts.
you for saying that.
It's just hokey. I didn't like any of that, and it sucks that Daria Nicolodi, which this is her final role before she passed, that her role was relegated to just being a spirit, a ghost, essentially. It would be cool to see more of her. And I think you had brought this up in a previous episode. That is Asia's mother.
Yes.
Yes, I when I saw it, I was like, oh shit, that's right, that's her mother, and Dario's her daughter. I mean, her father, obviously, but the CGI ghosts and effects, no bueno. Cheesy. And yes, I wrote it in my notes too. The ending was lackluster. Like the fact she just pulled her tunic off and burned it. I like the fact that how she got impaled, the mother, but again, the mother, yes, she was hot, but bro, like I don't want to see like this porn model as the villain. If she's gonna be a witch, let's see a witch. Like, I want to see an ugly hag. She could start off as this big fake-breasted porn star, right, or Playboy bunny, but let's see a transformation. At least in Inferno, as cheesy as it was, the Mother of Darkness actually turned into a skeleton.
Yeah.
And here, I mean, she was hot, hell yeah, but I don't want to see her be like, oh, she's hot. I want to be like,
No, it was
oh
very
my
minimal.
God, this bitch is scary. Oh my, but I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? She's not scary. And those other witches, I'm sorry, they were just weird looking and goofy. And what's up with, I don't know why they decided to make them all punk. I don't know. Great gore though. The gore was great. There was some parts of it that was cheesy, like when they used the intestines for Giselle. You could tell they were fake tubing. Like, oh man, that does not. Oh my God, what's going on here? But at first I was like, okay, 2007. It's a newer film. Probably got more mainstream production company behind it. They're gonna tone it down. But once I saw like the teeth, Joe, the teeth. Once I saw that, I'm like, oh, okay, wait a minute.
Not just the teeth, and it's like the two things we both hate:
eyes
and eyes. With the fucking weapon, and I'm like,
yeah,
damn it,
that's true.
But that teeth thing, the thing that knocked out her fucking teeth,
ooh,
I'm like,
that was a good one. But like, it's weird because that was also kind of abruptly, like those, like all of a sudden, like Giselle and Sarah are, you know, frolicking around playing with this thing, and you know, Sarah goes to find some tools, and Giselle's left on her own. Next thing you know, these weird entities come out of nowhere and just fuck her up, and like, whoa, we're getting right into the gore like this, you know. But again, the baby, cheesy, bro. That was you're not gonna throw a real baby off for the fuck. I don't want to see that. But if it's, listen, that is cool for like an 80s schlock fest. But for a Dario Argento film, I kind of expect better as far as the quality on that. But yeah, and Aja, unfortunately, yeah, she was young. One of her first roles. She was kind of wooden, unfortunately. But it wasn't bad that it took me out of the film. It's not to that level. But it's not. This movie's not as terrible as everyone says it is. It's just
it's not.
To me, it's just the long gap in between and the pressures of modern day filmmaking at that time. Kind of like what happened to George Romero. Like, he always had control, but once the new age came in and the big production companies got behind these films, now you got a lot of chefs in the kitchen. So I don't know the overall background to this film. It's a first watch for me and you, so I don't have the extended knowledge or background, or I didn't research too much of this. I don't want to. I want to go in as fresh as I can. But it doesn't really seem like the 2000s were nice to Argento, unfortunately. Yeah. But it could have been worse. It's not terrible, but that's my final thoughts. I think for me, it was, as far as a complete trilogy, it works, but it could have been better. I think, as much as I love, like, you know, hot chicks, I think they could have had, you know, the Mother of Tears, the big bad, be an awfully vile, despicable character, not just an action, but to gaze at. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see a Playboy bunny. Come on, that's not scary. I don't want to be like, ooh, she's hot. I want to be like, oh man, she's fucking scary. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's my thoughts on that film. I enjoyed it. Oh, by the way, I cannot leave this out. There was one scene, I'm not gonna lie, I had my headphones on. I was on the verge of a near heart attack when that jump scare came, when Sarah gets up on the bed and that demon just pops up.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit! I jumped. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I was high when I saw this, so of course that enhances all of these, you know, feelings. And when I saw that jump scare, but the big problem was this: after that jump scare, there was like 7 more after that, and each one degraded as it went along. Man, the law of diminishing returns, unfortunately, was strong with that. But that one jump scare was good. It was effective, man. Dímelo.
I loved Inferno. Obviously, I love Suspiria. When we decided we were going to do Horror Italiano, I had that on the list. It's a must. And then we looked at the schedule and what we were planning, and I was like, we got to do this trilogy. We have to close off Horror Italiano with The Mother of Tears. And then I'm like, ooh, it's not that great of a film. I didn't like the CGI either. I think the biggest like pull with Dario was the practical, and even the color wise, it didn't look the same.
Well,
Like,
Dario did say no. To be fair, Dario did say this film he wanted more of a gritty, realistic, grounded tone. He didn't want to make it colorful. He wanted to make it bleak. He did go in saying that's by design. I see
it's
your
by design. By design. However,
even though
you
when they
did
went,
the other
if you
two.
notice when they went into one of the buildings, when they went into the building where the mother is, if you notice when they were outside, when Sarah is all blue, just like Suspiria when they were outside, and when she went in it was red. So they did kind of throw a little, I don't know if it's an Easter egg or homage, but they did add those two colors back to back, showcasing the outside world and the layer of this witch.
My thing is, too much time had passed, and Daria actually had written the follow-up to it back in the 80s, and it didn't end up happening. They went with Dario to do this one. So Daria actually wrote the follow-up, the final for this movie.
In the
It did not
80s?
get done.
Oh,
Yeah.
This movie should have been an 80s film. Man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's it's because
Why
I
did
guess
it take so long? Do you know? Did you look up?
the-
Would you look it up?
I did not. But
I need to find
with
out.
with
That's a
how the
big
years
gap.
that they fell, the gap hurt the movie.
It did
the
because
gap
you know
hurt.
why? A lot of the Claudio, who did the music, the guy from Goblin, who did, he was the composer. A lot of the people did come back for this, but a lot of the producers here and the writers were not the same as the
No.
other movies. So
No.
that's
yeah,
again
it
compared
hurt
real quick.
for me, it hurt the film.
It did. It's the same thing with hurt George Romero. Once George got out of Pittsburgh and went to Vancouver to film all his stuff, completely different team, completely different tone to his films.
Yep.
I didn't like that, and just like here, you can tell it hampered the film. You're right.
And not just that, the movie was very chaotic. The editing, it didn't flow as well as Suspiria and Inferno had flowed. Like it was very, I don't know, I felt like it was kind of chopped up.
And cheap. Let's be real.
Yeah, like
cheap.
I mean, it just and it sucks.
We can't finish this without talking about the familiar. When I think of familiar, I
The
think of
monkey,
you.
the fucking monkey, dude. That monkey, and like,
What a
oh my god,
bastard, bro.
I like the monkey. Don't get me wrong, but
He got
like,
his too, unfortunately. Well, I say unfortunately, he was a villain, but
he was a villain. But the monkey was good touch in it with the
that was
familiar.
cool. Yeah, that was cool.
I hate like I wanted a monkey as a pet, but then I saw Monkey Shines, and I'm like, no, we're not gonna get a monkey as a pet. And this movie, like, basically let you know, do not get a monkey as a pet.
And that bad dubbing for 2007. Well, there's some bad dubbing.
It was dubbed.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was dubbed. I thought that this was all done in English. So
No, yes, trust me. There's a few characters in there that were dubbed over. It's got that Tenebrae type of
oh
dubbing.
no, oh my god. All right, so that answers some of the other stuff. that I know about.
And they did the Chekhov's gun with the gasoline. They foreshadowed the gasoline when Sarah walked in, used the gasoline to light the fire. 'Cause she asked him, "Oh, can I turn the fire? The fire or the whatever? What is that? The Jesus Christ, we don't have it here. The fireplace, whatever that's just called."
I forget what it's called.
So of course the gasoline comes into play later when she uses it to burn somebody.
Thank you for joining us on the first season. We have enjoyed discovering some of these movies. Season 2 will be coming. We're not going to stop this. So for 2025, season 2 will come. You'll just have to watch what movies we're going to do. And Rick, I fucking love that we decided to do this series. Like,
Cool.
it is Italian horror is basically so prevalent
So the art form.
amongst all the movies that we see.
Crazy because my intentions both of our intentions, I would assume, when we came up with this show was, let's talk about some, we could talk about Suspiria, demons, movies we've seen, but we didn't go in with the intentions of 90% of these films are going to be first watches. If it wasn't
No.
for the show, I would never see Planet of the Vampires, for
Not
example.
me either.
I wouldn't. So it's
I
cool
actually,
that we
as cheesy as that movie was,
It's fun.
I love Planet of the Vampires.
It's fun, yeah.
Like,
it was fun.
so I hope you guys continue
Yeah.
to join us on our journey,
We'll be back.
because
we'll be back.
we're going to be back.
Stay good, stay healthy, stay sane, stay scared, but most of all, watch and appreciate Italian horror cinema.